There is no sense in denying it. Some of the maps in Heroes of the Storm are just simply unbalanced. You may have come across this yourself while playing the game. So what is the issue with some of these maps and why does it divide the community? So before we dive into the specifics of each map, let's explain a few things. Firstly, if you are playing Quick Match, you will have access to all maps with the exception of Haunted Mines, of course. This means there is a roughly 1 in 3 chance you will play one of these maps. However, as we know, Quick Match is inherently not well balanced, since your team comp is not drafted to synergize, rather to match the rough competition of the opposing team. Nor does it attempt to match heroes with maps that they are better suited to. So if you find your game is incredibly one-sided, just bear in mind this may not actually be the map and instead a result of the comp that the game drafted for you. If you are playing ranked, on the other hand, things are slightly better, since you know the map in advance and get the chance to draft a suitable comp. In addition, you will only be able to play maps that are on the current 9-map rotation, which should be updated every season. This is a good way to filter out maps that are currently unbalanced. Here is a list of the current rotation maps. Notice how Blackhearts Bay, Hanamura and Warhead Junction are not in the current rotation. Okay, with that out of the way, let's dive into each map, starting with Blackhearts Bay. Outside of Haunted Mines, Blackheart Bay catches the most heat for being the most unbalanced. So why? Well, the objective of this map is to hand in doubloons, or coins, to Blackheart, sat in the centre of the map. Doing so will bribe him to fire 12 cannon shots from his ship at the enemy defences. Doubloons could be collected by defeating mercenary camps or from chests that spawn periodically in the centre. Two issues here then. Number 1. The first team to hand in 10 coins would normally secure a demanding lead. By pushing down the central fort, you give yourself plenty of space to secure map control, which leads me on to number 2. This map could actually be played like a PvE map, with the noticeable exception of the occasional team fights around the turn-in or chests, but if you have secured an early lead, it is generally quite easy to defend the turn-in. Then you can farm camps and chests for doubloons without actually going anywhere within tower range. How could we make this map more balanced then? Well, since there is water all over the map, why don't we just move Blackheart's ship whenever he fires, providing the losing team a slightly easier way to defend turn-ins. I admit it's not too much, but probably enough. Next up, Hanamura. This is a 2-lane map that requires players to push a payload in the centre of the map. The team that successfully does so will have cannon shots fired at the enemy defences. Sound familiar? The objective itself is actually rather well balanced, albeit a little mediocre. The thing that people don't like about this map is its design and camps. Firstly, to accommodate for the objective in the centre of the map, it acts like one huge open space, little to no bushes and only 2 vision camps. Then there are only 2 other camps on each side of the map with no bosses. The samurai camp has always felt very overtuned, and early game more effective than the objective itself. It is common practice to pick up the samurai camp as soon as it spawns in. To fix this map then, or at least to make it more tolerable, I would recommend doing something more interesting in the centre of the map. I would love to see the boss come back, as if you didn't know, the map originally had a big mech in the centre acting as a boss. Oh, and nerf the samurai. Warhead Junction then. This is a 3-lane map that requires players to collect warheads that spawn around the map. These warheads are a one-time use activatable that can be cast wherever you like, but is most commonly used to aid pushing down defences. These warheads aren't very strong though, and since multiple warheads can spawn at once, it is very common for teams to just avoid team fighting altogether, each collect a few warheads and trade. The other issue is the map's overall size. This is the largest of all maps, making it almost impossible to cover all warheads. Heroes with global abilities are therefore super impactful and normally get picked up as a result. Because of the watchtowers and general scale of this map, ganking is very difficult to pull off. Players have much longer to notice you are missing from lane. So to make this better, I have 2 recommendations. Firstly, reduce the number of warheads that spawn at once, increase their overall power, and reduce the overall size of the map. And finally, Braxis Holdout. This is a 2-lane map that requires teams to hold 2 objectives, similar to how Dragon Shrine works. Doing so will empower your Zerg wave. As soon as one team gets to 100, it will spawn both Zerg waves to push alternating lanes, but both teams' Zerg will scale, so it could be 100 to 99 and almost even. The challenge that this map faces is that the objectives are very close to the lane, so the game is effectively one long drawn out team fight with no way to outsoak XP. Drafting on this map is therefore critical. Teams will typically pick a solo laner and then delicately balance a mixture of early game push and late game team fight. Mana conservative heroes are therefore impactful, like Gul'dan and Kel'Thas. Because of the draft, the first team to get the Zerg often snowballs and wins the game rapidly. Conversely, I've seen cases where the draft was super even and the Zerg wasn't collected until 15 minutes into the game. So what would I do to make things better? Well, this is a tough one, but I would simply make it a 3-lane map. Get rid of the boss in the centre and shove a lane in there. This allows for more options. Do I soak lane? Do I rotate or team fight? And it also makes doing camps not as obvious. So, what do you think? Are the maps unbalanced, and what would you do to make them better? If you liked the video, please consider dropping a like. It lets me know what sort of content you like, and please consider subscribing.